Most learners think small, little, and tiny are basically the same word. But here's the truth, they are not interchangeable, and using the wrong one can make you sound rude or emotional or even condescending without meaning to.
Wait, seriously? I've been using them the same way my whole English life.
You are not alone. Almost every learner does, and today we are going to fix that for good. Welcome to Speak Like a Native. I'm Maya.
And I'm Leo. Let's get right into it.
So let's start with the simplest one, small. This is the most neutral word of the three. It is a factual, objective word for size. When you say something is small, you are simply describing its dimensions.
Okay, like I live in a small apartment.
Perfect example. I live in a small apartment. That is a neutral statement. You are just saying it is not big. There is no emotion attached. You could say it to a landlord, a real estate agent, a friend. It works everywhere.
Right, so small is safe.
Safe is the perfect word. Now, little, this is where it gets interesting. Little is never neutral. It always carries emotion, usually affection or sympathy, or sometimes even insult.
Wait, insult? How?
Let me show you. Imagine you see a puppy on the street. You say, "Look at that little puppy. What does that feel like?"
Aw, that sounds sweet. Like you want to hug it.
Exactly. Now imagine you are at work and your colleague gives a presentation. Afterward, someone whispers, "That was a little presentation."
Oh, that sounds mean.
Ha ha! Right. Same word. One warm, one insulting. Why? Because little is not about size anymore, it is about your feeling toward the thing. With the puppy, it shows affection. With the presentation, it shows you think it was unimportant or weak.
So little is like a secret emotional signal.
That's a great way to put it. Little is a secret emotional signal, and that is why learners get into trouble. Let me give you a common mistake my students make. I have a student from Brazil, very nice guy. He was talking about his friend's new baby. He said, "Your little baby is so cute."
That sounds fine to me.
It sounds fine to us because we know he meant it kindly, but the mother might feel strange. Why? Because calling a baby little can sound like you are minimizing the baby, like you're saying the baby is small in a way that is less important.
What should he have said?
"Your baby is so cute, just drop little entirely." Or, if you want to use a size word, say your tiny baby is so cute. Tiny is very different, and we will get there. But little applied to people, be very careful. In fact, let me give you a rule.
I love rules.
Rule number 1, do not use little to describe a person's size or age, unless you are very close to them and you know they will receive it warmly. If you are not sure, use small or just skip the adjective.
Okay, what about a little girl or a little boy? I hear that all the time in movies.
Great question. A little girl or a little boy? That is an exception. When we talk about children, little is standard and usually warm. She's a little girl means she is young and small, and it sounds affectionate. But once the person is an adult, it changes.
So don't call your adult friend little.
Unless you want to annoy them. Now let me give you another example. This is a mistake my Chinese students often make. They want to say, "I have a small problem," but they say, "I have a little problem."
Is that wrong?
It is not grammatically wrong, but it changes the meaning. A little problem sounds like the problem is cute or unimportant. A small problem sounds neutral, just a problem that is not huge. So if you are in a business meeting and you say, "We have a little problem," your boss might think you are not taking it seriously.
Oh, wow. So little downplays things more than small?
Exactly. Little can make things sound less serious. Let me say that again. Little downplays small describes that is the core difference.
And tiny?
Tiny is my favorite. Tiny is like small but stronger, and it always carries a positive or impressive feeling. Tiny means very, very small, but it makes you feel amazed.
Like a tiny apartment in Tokyo. Sounds cool and compact?
Yes, tiny sounds impressive. Small is neutral, little is emotional, but tiny is like, wow, look at how small this is. For example, she has a tiny office, but she makes it work beautifully.
That sounds admiring.
Exactly, admiration. Now, here is another mistake I see with Arabic speakers. They often use tiny too much because in Arabic, the word for small and tiny can overlap. So they might say, I have a tiny headache.
That sounds like a very small headache.
It sounds like the headache is cute, and a headache is never cute. You would say, I have a small headache, neutral, or a little headache if you want to downplay it. But tiny headache, that would make people laugh.
Okay, so what is the rule of thumb?
Think of it as a scale. Small is your default. It works for everything size related. Little is your emotional or affectionate choice. Use it when you want to show feeling. Tiny is your impressive choice. Use it when you want to emphasize how surprisingly small something is.
Can I try?
Please.
Okay. I bought a small coffee, neutral. I bought a little coffee, sounds like I think it is cute or disappointing. And I bought a tiny coffee, sounds like it is really small. Maybe from an espresso shop, and I am impressed.
You nailed it. That is perfect. Now here is the tricky part, collocations. Some words just go together naturally. For example, we almost never say a small amount, we say a little amount, or more commonly, a little bit.
A little bit?
Yes, a little bit of sugar. Nobody says a small bit of sugar. It is always a little bit. That is a fixed expression.
What about a tiny bit?
Absolutely. A tiny bit is very common and it means even less. Just a tiny bit of salt. So there you go, another difference.
So sometimes little is the only correct choice?
Exactly. In fixed expressions, you have to use the right one. A little while, not a small while. A little something, like I got you a little something. That is a gift, a small surprise. You cannot say I got you a small something.
That sounds weird.
It sounds very weird. So here is your homework. When you hear little in a sentence, notice if the speaker is showing emotion or affection. When you hear small, notice if it is just a fact. And when you hear tiny, notice if the speaker is impressed.
I am going to start listening for this everywhere.
Now let me hit you with one more level. Advanced learners, listen up. Little can also be used as a negative. Little attention means almost no attention. Little progress means almost no progress.
Wait, that is different from a little progress?
Huge difference. A little progress means some progress, positive. Little progress means not enough progress, negative. The article, it changes everything.
Oh, that is confusing.
It is confusing, but it is beautiful. Little without a is negative. A little is positive. So he showed little interest, bad. He showed a little interest, good.
What about small? Does that change?
Small does not have that trick. Small progress and a small amount of progress, both neutral. Only little has this double life.
Okay, I am going to practice this in my conversations today.
Perfect. And here is your takeaway for today. One sentence to remember. Small is safe, little is emotional, tiny is impressive.
Small is safe, little is emotional, tiny is impressive.
Write that down, stick it on your wall, and next time you need to describe something small, ask yourself, am I being factual, affectionate, or amazed?
That is so helpful.
That is what we do here at Speak Like a Native. We help you sound like a real person, not a textbook. If you found this useful, hit that subscribe button. We have a new episode every day.
And I am going to go tell my friend that I live in a small apartment, not a little apartment.
Good choice. I'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.